God placed the best things in life on the other side of terror. On the other side of your maximum fear are all of the best things in life.
You can either live your dreams or live your fears. And I think the majority of people actually are not living their dreams, but are living their fears. So I want to ask you a question. What are your fears? What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Because we all have fears, don't we? We all have something that's blocking us, that's holding us back. And as we begin to look at life, what we realize is that the reason that most people are not living out their true potential, are not doing all of the things that they would really like to do, is because of fear. Some people call fear false evidence or expectations appearing real. What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream? That's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things. And how do we begin to handle that? Abraham Maslow said that life is about growth. And he said, you can either go back to your comfort zone, and there you won't find any growth, or you must be willing to go forward and face your fears again and again and again. Because you're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. There are some things that you really should be afraid of. Now, you shouldn't allow it to immobilize you. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution. But it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you. So what do? One, acknowledge it, and knowing that it's okay. Don't condemn yourself for being afraid. It's perfectly fine to have some fears. You acknowledge your fears, you embrace those fears, and then you move on. You act on whatever it is that you fear. Because once you embrace it, see, what you resist will persist. What you resist will persist. So one of the most important things is to begin to embrace your fear.
The only way to deal with fear that I found in my life is a couple ways. One of those ways is to turn it on itself and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? If I'm afraid of that, I gotta be more afraid of what I'm gonna miss out on, missing out on my mission, missing out on who I'm supposed to be. In other words, if you're not gonna get rid of fear, then use fear. Use fear or it uses you. It's that simple. So you got to say, okay, what's the price if I just stay doing this? What's the price? What I need to really get scared if I learn all this and I don't follow through. That's something to be scared about. And then that fear will get you over your fear. It'll push you through. Turn fear on itself. Second way you can do it is use what you've probably heard me say, because I've used it since I was 17, is my little rocking chair test, right? I'm gonna sit myself in my rocking chair. I'm 85 years old. I'm looking back on my life, and I say, I didn't do this, or I did.
Why do you think it's important to move towards things that scare you?
Because on the other side of that is your growth. On the other side of that is strength. Even in going through pain, like I look at pain as a positive thing. I'm not talking about putting yourself through pain on purpose, but it's just like working out. You know, the only way you're gonna get strength in your life is if you go through that hard moment, that tough moment. I wouldn't have a story if it wasn't for the sucky times in my life. I wouldn't have a story if it wasn't for me going through my depressed moments. So realize this, just because it's a chapter, it doesn't mean it's your whole story. So for me, I just understand that it's very important to embrace pain, to go through it, because I believe the foundation of all strength is pain. Yeah, it's a process. It's the process of, I think, facing fear. I mean, and we can talk about fear for like, because facing fear is super important. We can talk about like my process with that, I think, in order to unwrap your gift. So I'm not gonna go into my skydive story, that'll take forever. But I realized like what fear is, right? And for me, fear is creating a known result, right? From a situation you haven't experienced yet. And so when I used to go back to football, when I would be scared to go out there and perform, I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna drop the ball. I'm gonna miss a pass and the whole crowd of 80,000 people is gonna be like, ah. So I'm scared now. Stage, when I'm on stage before I was speaking, what do you think I was thinking? I'm gonna freeze up again. Nobody's gonna care. All of these things, I realized that I was creating a result before I ever experienced it. And so I said, if that's the case, I need to create something better on the other side of that door, something more empowering that's gonna force me to actually go through the door. So now when I speak, I say, you know what? I'm gonna impact at least one life. So go out there and do it. You know, when it comes to my skydiving, of course that thing was, the parachute's not gonna open, you're gonna die. Of course you're not gonna jump out of the plane. But I immediately changed that to this is gonna be the most incredible thing, and also leverage where now I can use this in every area of my life because I conquered my biggest fear.